Good evening, this is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak. This is the video feature race of the week. This week's feature race, we're going to preview the June 9th Belmont Stakes. Right now it's Friday night, it's June 1st, so we're 8 days away from that Belmont Stakes to see if I'll have another can complete the Triple Crown sweep. Right now it looks like there's an 11 horse field that's going to be lining up for the Belmont. Alpha earlier in the week spiked a fever. He's dropped out of the Belmont. So it looks like 11 horses. Let's go over the pace scenario as it stands right now. It looks like Painter for trainer Bob Baffert is going to be one of the early runners. Unstoppable You, he's 2 for 2 lifetime for trainer Ken McPeak. He looks like your other early runner. He's very lightly raced. I don't know if he has the seasoning to go this distance, but he's going to be at least a pace factor. Your stalkers in here, Guyana Star Dweej is a long shot. He's going to be pressing the pace. 5:16 is another one that should be sitting right behind the front runners. I'll have another, probably has enough tactical speed to keep the leaders in his sights. And then Union Rags is probably going to show a much more tactical speed under his new rider, John Velasquez. Your late runners in here, Adagun for trainer Ken McPeak. Dullahan, your third place Kentucky Derby finisher. Optimizer for trainer D. Wayne Lucas. Ravello's boy, he's going to come in from Florida. And then Street Life, he ended up hitting the board, finishing third in the Peter Pan Stakes. Now, is I'll have another going to win this race? Based on the Briss speed figure patterns, let's see if we can see what kind of race we think he's going to run. Now, I'll have another, his last two Briss speed ratings, 109 and 108 in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. And now he's going to be making his third start in 5 weeks. Now, just based on that pattern, patterns over long stretches in horse racing, it's tough for horses to run 3 big numbers in a short period of time. Travis Stone and I taught this phenomenon in a class, in a college course a few years ago in Louisiana, and we discussed how horses coming off of 2 big numbers and then coming back quickly, they typically regress. And we'll have to see if has another decent number in him. He's going to have to at least run as well, or if not better, because some of his other contenders are close on numbers. Well, like Painter in his last 2, he's run a 107 on the Preakness undercard, looking very good, and then he had ran a 105 in the Derby trial before that. But he's going to be making his third start in 6 weeks. He's still relatively lightly raced, but he's had a lot of races in a short period. We'll have to see if he can come up and run another big number. Now, Dullahan, he's one that could come up and run a big number, even though he's come up with back-to-back big numbers. He had a 102 in the Bluegrass Stakes, then he had a 106, finishing third in the Kentucky Derby. But this Belmont Stakes will be his first start in 5 weeks, so he's had plenty of time to recover from that, and he could easily improve off of that 106, which would make him a serious threat. Now, your other serious threat in here is going to be Union Rags. His last 2 numbers weren't nearly as good as the other horses. He had a 100 and a 102 in the Kentucky Derby and the Florida Derby, but both races he had a lot of trouble. In the Kentucky Derby at the start, all kinds of trouble, was never able to really recover. He ended up passing a lot of horses and finishing 7th in that 20-horse field. Then in the Florida Derby, no pace helped. He was stuck down on the inside, had nowhere to go. So his numbers could be a little deceiving. He could be better than that. He ran better numbers in the Youth Stakes and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And it looked like Kentucky Derby Day he was sitting on a career top number, but that was all wasted with his bad start. And he's also making his first start in 5 weeks, so expect that he's going to jump up and probably run the best race of his life. The question is going to be distance. If he can get the distance, he's a serious threat in here. But just based on all those numbers and the horses that are fresh, it looks like Dullahan and Union Rags are going to be the biggest threats to I'll Have Another. And either of those horses are very capable of beating him in the Belmont Stakes. Union Rags was my Kentucky Derby top choice, and he's going to be my pick to beat I'll Have Another in the Belmont. But don't be surprised if Dullahan runs a big race, and he's a big threat as well. That'll wrap up this week's video race of the week. If you go over to HorseRacingNation.com and you want to see more information on I'll Have Another and his quest for the Triple Crown, you go over there. We have updated news every day. Also, HorseRacingNation.wordpress.com. I'm doing pedigree reports on all the Belmont Stakes starters. If you go over there, you'll be able to see that. And also, those reports will be at HorseRacingNation.com as well. And that'll wrap up this week's video race of the week. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak. Good luck at the races.